the opposition. All right, so that has been our top story this morning. I want to bring in my colleague Mark Namas joining us from the Supreme Court. Now he has been following up on the swearing in of the two deputy IGs, but I want him also to tell us more if indeed the CJ, who has been accused by the Jubilee Party in that letter of being biased or biased of being of having double standards, has reacted to it. Mark, good morning. Has the CJ responded to the allegations with regard to that letter?
Surprisingly, Betty, that's one of the key points. That's one of the main things that brought us here, to try and listen in to the CJ whether he's going to respond to what Jubilee Secretary General Raphael Tuju wrote yesterday. And surprisingly, he has by accident or design or deliberately, he has stayed clear. He has steered clear of the matter and instead focused on the business of the day, that is induction of two deputy police inspector generals into becoming members of the National Police Service Commission. But he has mentioned nothing at all concerning the claims that were leveled against the judiciary by Raphael Tuju, the Secretary General of the Jubilee Party, concerning the alleged ill treatment and bias of the Jubilee Party ever since we began the process of getting into the general election last year, the repeat poll, and even on to this year. One of the key points that Raphael Tuju accused the judiciary of was appearing to lean towards the side of NASA. And he also mentioned about the swearing in, the response of the judiciary or their reaction concerning matters raised by Jubilee Party concerning the swearing in of Raila Odinga on January 30th. And he said that the judiciary has seemingly turned a deaf ear towards the protest raised and issues raised by the Jubilee Party, but instead, whenever it came to the turn of NASA filing petitions at the Supreme Court, or what Raphael Tuju in his own words called NASA surrogates, the ones that filed a petition against Uhuru Kenyatta's first win, and he said that the judiciary tends to react or to respond with immediacy and urgency whenever NASA raises questions. But when it comes to the Jubilee Party, the judiciary doesn't seem to pay much attention. But today, as we waited and listened in very keenly to Chief Justice David Maraga, he steered completely clear of the matter and instead focused on the events of the day, that was induction of two deputy IGs into becoming members of the National Police Service Commission. Back to you, Betty.
All right, Mark, before I let you go, let's also just discuss the matter to do with the transfers that we saw about 2 days ago. The CJ transferred about 19 judges, including Justice George Odunga. Of course, many people are saying that this is just a normal process, but there are questions whether, this is coming with a backdrop of the August 8th presidential election. There are many cases that Justice George Odunga handled, and most of them swayed in the direction of NASA.
Now, looking at what has been happening in the past few days, for instance, issues that have involved the executive versus the judiciary, or the police versus the judiciary, we have seen an element of defiance towards the judiciary. And if we can decide to go back to what we witnessed and saw last year in the heat of the general election and all those processes and back and forth between NASA, Jubilee, the judiciary, and the executive, it brings us back to one statement uttered by someone I'll not mention. We will revisit. According to most pundits, they read the entire processes, including the silence of the judiciary concerning the defiance of court orders, as well as the recent transfers back. They relate all that back to the "we will revisit" statement. So many people read through the recent events as a part of the revisitation of the judiciary that was promised by someone in the executive. We have also seen a lot of changes. For instance, the resignation of the Attorney General and his replacement coming up. So it's a matter of it's a matter of how you read through whatever is happening. But most pundits will tell you that it's about the revisiting. So it's something that is still developing, and most people will want to wait and see how all these changes in the judiciary, the relationship with the executive, as well as political parties and other matters that have been happening around those circles, how things will end.